But Rob G, let's start here. And, we kind of touched on it yesterday. Obviously, the Shohei Ohtani and his interpreter and the gambling and the paying off the debt. And there's a whole story in feds. They had a warrant to search the house of the bookie, right?
Right.
Here in California, and all kinds of stuff is happening, and there'll be a federal investigation. Like this is a big deal. And baseball will get involved at some point, but the feds are first in seeing what's going on here.
First in line.
Exactly. And when you're wiring that kind of money, who's it going to? What is this for? You can't even go to the bank, Rob G, and in the old days, used to be able, if my sister needed money, she could give me her bank account number, right? Mm-hmm. I could go to the bank and put money into her bank, into her account, right into her account. Before Zelle, no, you can't do that. Now, even to deposit money in my own account, you need your ID.
I do know that part, yes.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
But that's where we are. So they monitor everything. And when they see large sums of money getting moved around, it's a problem. But there's something bigger when we talk about a problem.
Bigger than Ohtani.
Bigger than Ohtani.
Okay.
And it's the sports leagues with the gambling. Rob G, for a long time, we talk about it, Chris and I, because we both, worked in baseball clubhouses, and the biggest sign in the room was about gambling and all that. Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame, the all-time hit leader in baseball. Gambling derailed him. We've seen NFL players get suspended of late since the NFL's in bed with gambling, but all these leagues are in bed. We talked about it, and I'm not sure how many teams, but the NBA, I know because I went to the sports book inside the Cavaliers arena. Yes. It's inside. At the Washington Nationals, the sports book is right next door. You come out of it, and the stadium gate is right next door. It's literally right next door. So, the leagues have embraced it. The networks, Rob G, have embraced it, right? There was Fox Bet, right? Fox Bet. ESPN started a bet. ESPN Bet. Like, there's so much money out there, and they want a piece of it. But here's the tricky part. They want all that money, and it's okay for fans and everybody else to bet, but they don't want the players to partake. And if they do, it's stiff penalties for the players. I don't think it could be an either or. I think you either have to be involved in gambling or not be involved in gambling. I really do. And I think you set the players up for bad situations. You say, well, the guy's making $30 million. What does he care about bet? There's something about the action. Rob, do you bet? Don't you once in a while when you go to Vegas?
Every once in a while, absolutely.
There's a rush from it, right? Yeah. Like whenever I win and I text you my winnings to show you, right? It's not that much money, but I'm like, I just won $850.
Right. No, Rob, I maintain that the times that I do bet, it's not the wins that get me the most excited. It's not even like the losses that hurt the most. The biggest rush for me is that part right in between. Like if you're playing cards and you double down on a hand and you see the card coming over, that split second, that's when the dopamine hits the hardest.
Right.
So if you're gambling on sports, it's not necessarily going to the counter or on the app or whatever and making your bet. It might not even always be cashing in your ticket. It's watching the highs and the lows, that 6-0 spurt that happened in an Oregon-South Carolina game. And you're like, oh, okay, I can feel my money's coming or it's not coming. That's where people get addicted, I believe. Yeah, no, I agree. When I did Shekel City last night, and I checked to see from the games last night, I think the Clippers were 12.5, and they won by 13. Like, those are those nights. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where you and then you don't know how many times I've won a parlay where some play happens or some basket that shouldn't have. You know what I mean?
Right.
And you go, oh my God, they covered.
Right.
Like you can't believe. And then you start to say, that's kind of fishy. I can't even believe like the score is what it is. But Rob G, here it is. I don't think the sports leagues can have it both ways. And I think that's where we're going to have a problem going forward. If Ohtani gets caught up in this whole thing, it's going to be bad for baseball. It really will. Here's a unicorn, a guy who just signed a $700 million contract. I went to spring training, the crowds around him, Rob G, in L.A., they're selling tickets like crazy. Anywhere the Dodgers go, they're like a rock band this year. Like the tickets. People they want to see Ohtani. They want to see the Dodgers, all that. I think sports betting and professional leagues, they just don't mix. I really believe that they got to take a hard look at it. And it's not only it's that the fans now are turning on the players and the coaches and the wins and losses. It's not just about my team losing. It's about me losing money.
Right.
You cost me money. And J.B. Bickerstaff, right, the former coach of the Washington Wizards, he talked about the effect of fans in gambling.
Take a listen.
I personally have had my own instances with, some of the sports gamblers where, they got my telephone number and were sending me crazy messages about, where I live and my kids and all that stuff. So it is a dangerous game and a fine line that we're walking for sure. It brings added pressure. It brings a distraction to the game that can be difficult for players, coaches, referees, everybody that's involved in it. And I think that, we really have to be careful, with how close we let it get to the game and the security of the people who are involved in it, because, again, it does carry a weight. A lot of times the people who are gambling, like this money, pays their light bill or pays their rent. And then the emotions that come from that. So I do think we're walking a very fine line, and we have to be extremely careful in protecting everybody. There's no doubt about it that it's crossed the line. The amount of times where I'm standing up there and we may have a 10-point lead and the spread is 11 and people are yelling at me to leave the guys in so that we can cover the spread, like, it's ridiculous. But again, I understand the business side of it and the nature of the business of it, but it is something that I believe has gone too far.
J.B. Bickerstaff is spot on.
Spot on.
He might not be the best coach in the NBA, and we know that he lost his gig, but he's spot on here. Rob G, it's a serious epidemic. Fans are, you were talking about rabid fans, right? Because they love their team and they want their team to win. No, they want to win their bet. And if you cause them with some bad play or a bad decision as a coach, in football it happens all the time.
Yep.
What are you doing? Yeah, kneel down, right? Or whatever it is. Or they kneel down at the 1 yard line when you need points.
Right.
And fans now don't care about the result more than they care about their own pockets. It started with fantasy football. When did the NFL take off?
Fantasy football.
Fantasy football. Rob G, you remember, it's not that people didn't like football. They didn't love it like they like it now.
No.
They did not. That's why Monday Night Football came off of ABC, right? It wasn't because the NFL was doing the numbers they're doing now. People don't care about their teams. They don't. What do they care about, Rob G? My guys, my fantasy team.
Yep.
Did I win? Do I have a chance to win the $5,000 pot at the end of the year? That's what it's about. The leagues have to re-examine this and get out of gambling. Nobody wants to hear it. There's too much money, gobs and gobs of money. I don't want to give it back. No. But look at what it's going to take, Rob G. Is it going to take some crazy irate fan to do something horrific in order for us to realize that we've crossed the line here, mixing the two?
It might. I'll tell you what, and I think J.B. Bickerstaff hit the nail on it, because one thing I wanted to point out specifically from that, he spoke for a minute and a half. Here's what he said.
Yep.
I do think we're walking a very fine line to be extremely careful in protecting everybody who's involved. Again, I understand the business side of it and the nature of the business. We all do,
yep.
Mm-hmm. But it is something that I believe has gone too far. J.B. Bickerstaff and the Cavs and the NBA at large make a ton of money with their partnerships with the sports gambling networks. People at Fox Sports, ESPN, CBS. Hey, Fox Sports Radio has contracts with some of the player prop networks. So we understand the role that it plays in the sports business side of things. We totally understand that part. And for him to say that, knowing that part of his salary, part of the success of his team is tied to these contracts. Because the more money that they make, the higher the salary cap goes, the more the players can get paid, and so on and so forth. And if he's telling you, look, man, I get that we're making money off of this. I understand that it's helping to grow the league, but we've kind of jumped the shark a little bit. We've gotten to a point now where it's no longer a niche thing. It's no longer taboo to gamble on your favorite sporting event.
And you know what? A lot of college kids, I teach at USC, they're gambling, and they're gambling. And I hear it about they're thinking about what happened, the play, the so-and-so missed a three, cost me money. Like that's the conversation. Not, oh, my God, he missed an open three, we could have won the game. No. I lost $40. I lost $100.
Exactly.
Like, that is the conversation about sports, and it's only going to get worse to me as, all the gambling becomes legal. And sports had done it for a long time. Las Vegas has always been around and gambling, but they were like, no.
Right.
No gambling whatsoever, not even on others, no gambling.
Mm-hmm. And Rob, you bring it full circle. You started with the Ohtani thing. Because this league has this incestuous relationship with these sports gambling networks and so on, how on one hand can you say, hey, make sure you get your DraftKings bet in? NBA League Pass are going to partner up with live betting now.
Right.
But if you want to bet on the game, D'Angelo Russell, you cannot.
Right.
Like, you're talking out of both sides of your mouth then.
Right. And if everybody else can bet on
you're
it.
blurring the lines.
Right.
And anytime you have to make these very specific distinctions, it's not going to work out long term.
No, I'm with you. All right, Fox, Rob G talking about gambling in sports and whether or not, that this marriage can continue the way fans are lashing out at players, coaches, and when they lose money.
That's right. And these phone lines are lit up like a Christmas tree, Rob Parker. This is a very controversial topic
Let's
in
do
America.
it.
Let's get it started with Elvis in Alabama. Elvis, you're on the Odd Couple. What you got?
What's going on, Rob and Rob?
How are
Enjoying the show, man.
Thank you, buddy.
Hey,
How are
check it
you?
out, man. I hear you guys. I agree. It's a bad situation, and nothing's going to happen, man, because in a way, maybe a little out there, but in a way, these leagues, they're just like the cartels in Mexico, man. They will do whatever it takes to keep that river of money coming, and they're going to do the same thing. Nothing is going to change. The leagues, they're making too much money on it, and nothing's going to change. They're going to keep that river of money flowing no matter what.
I hear you,
Something
Elvis.
bad is going to happen, I believe, eventually. They're not going to change, man.
No, I hear
I'm
you.
out.
Well, yeah, Elvis, and Rob G, you know this. Once that floodgate of money comes in, it's hard to shut off. Once you're used to getting that money.
Right.
And they've already, when they crossed the line and decided that they were going to take it, that was the start of it. I was always surprised that a team, I can remember when they said a team would never be in Las Vegas. They had a football team, baseball team's coming, they expanded with hockey, right?
Yep.
And the NBA's coming. We already know that. Am I right? There ain't no doubt in my mind there'll be an NBA team there.
Rob, I remember working on one of the weekend shows back in the day here on Fox Sports Radio, and Tony Romo was going to have a fantasy football convention in Vegas. We were all excited. We were going to do a remote there.
And the NFL said, no
NFL
way, no
came
how.
in and canceled it. They said, you are not allowed to have this kind of event in this kind of location. Sorry.
Can you imagine that? Think about that.
Yeah.
877-99 on Fox.
All right, let's keep it moving. Perry's in Louisville. Perry, you're on the Odd Couple. Fox Sports Radio, what you got?
Rob and Rob G, thanks for taking the call.
Yes, sir.
So they legalized sports gambling here in Louisville, Kentucky late last year. And, I mean, instantly, overnight, everybody I knew turned into a degenerate gambler. Male and female friends, because I knew could care less about sports. Now they know every person. They know their averages, et cetera. And I say all that to say there's just too much money, so it's not going to go away. And like Rob G was saying, too many conglomerate companies have contracts with these betting sites, et cetera.
I get it. You know what? I think you make perfect sense, you and Rob G. But what are we waiting for? Are we waiting for something bad? Because they lash out against the coaches and the players, Rob G, when they don't win.
Right.
Or they don't cover the spread or whatever it might be. Like, that's the part is some crazy fan who just lost a boatload of money.
Yeah, and everything you said is correct, Rob. And I think that's why your original point is ultimately what it's got to be. It's got to be all in then.
Right.
Because
then you just got to let it.
There's too much money at stake. These leagues are too profitable. Sports gambling is taking a stranglehold across America from people, in their 50s to college students in their probably not even 21 yet.
Right.
I'm sure that they find ways to gamble with their brother's account and things like that.
Big time.
It's so easy to do it nowadays. So I think, like you said, the compromise is going to have to be everyone can gamble.
Yep. 877-99 on 5.
We got time for one more. Sean is in North Dakota. Sean, you're on the Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio.
Hey guys, thanks for taking my call. Appreciate your time. But,
yes, sir.
Let's look back and really think about this. Gambling's been going on since the 1920s with the whole, Shoeless Joe Jackson and all of the corruption that goes on like that.
The Black Sox,
no matter what you do, there's going to be a black market, guys. There's going to be something that's going to come along that, hey, guess what? We're going to gamble. The NFL, they say absolutely not. It's prohibited. It's like prohibition. Guess what? You find a way to make it happen.
Sean, you're right. Sean, here's the problem, though. Here's what is that now to me, when the leagues are involved, right, the fans who are now mad at the players and mad at, do you know, like that's what's changed. Like now they're mad at the Cavs coach Bickerstaff, right? They're mad at Rob G at because they didn't win and they didn't cover or whatever it is. Why'd you take the starting 5 out? Oh, you gave up the lead, right? And now I lost. I lost my $4,000. I'm angry.
Rob, you got guys like Tyrese Halliburton openly admitting that he had to go see a psychologist because he's coming back from injury. He's got a hamstring issue. Hasn't been playing his best ever since he came back too soon. And all of the comments on his social media are people ripping him for not performing well enough in their DraftKings pool and their player bets. And it kind of forced him to seek out mental health issues.
Isn't that crazy? Mm-hmm. But that's what I'm saying.
That's what's going to be the normal.
Like that wasn't the case before, Rob G. Right. When there was always gambling, but the leagues weren't involved. So it was totally different. All right.